Colleen DeRoche, and I'm standing outside the office of the Ministry of Children and Families in Port Alberni, British Columbia. I am here to talk about the fact that there are over 9,000 children in care in British Columbia right now. The Ministry of Children and Families is supposed to follow the guidelines set out in the CFCSA, which is the Child and Family Community Service Act. In that act, it states that children have the right to maintain relationships with family and extended family consistent with what the relationship was before the child was apprehended. But this isn't happening. The Ministry of Children and Families is not promoting the continuation of bonds between children and their family members. Parents are being torn apart. Their lives are being destroyed. Children are growing up never knowing the real story about what happened and why they weren't allowed to see their parents. Parents are forced into supervised access when there's no reason for it. And today I'm going to do a very brief interview with a grandmother who has not seen any of her 5 grandchildren in over a year. I will call her E. E had her daughter apprehended from her when her daughter was 15 years old. She was sent to live in a foster home for 6 months. When the 6 months was up, because E hadn't heard anything from her daughter and hadn't even had one visit with her, she called the social worker to ask if her daughter would be being returned to her. The social worker didn't respond to her phone calls, so E went to the foster home and asked them if her daughter was still there, and they said the social worker had picked her up 2 weeks before and dropped her off with a 38-year-old man. This 38-year-old man, who she ended up living with, ended up getting her pregnant. Without any consent of the mother, or any court hearing, or any papers being served, this young girl was taken from her mother, put in a foster home, and then released without any knowledge without her mother having any knowledge. Now that mother is the grandmother, and her 5 grandchildren were taken from Port Alberni, BC, and placed in foster care in Ontario, where obviously the grandmother does not have the ability to go and visit on a regular basis. I would like to interview this woman just to point out the fact that there is no reason for bonds between children and their grandparents or their parents to be broken needlessly. I'm speaking with a grandmother of 5 grandchildren today who has a very sad story to share. How old are your grandchildren?
My grandchildren are 5, 4, 3, 1, and 4 months old.
Your grandchildren are 5, 4, 3, 1, and 4 months old?
Yes.
When was the last time you saw any of the children?
The last time I seen my grandchildren was last year, June 2007.
So over a year ago was the last time you saw them?
That's correct.
And let me ask that again. Why haven't you seen them in so long?
I don't know.
Did the Ministry of Children and Families in British Columbia send the children to Ontario where they were then put in foster care and they were never returned to BC?
Yes, that's correct.
Do you think M.C.F.D and the social workers involved acted in an honest manner and for the best interests of the children?
No.
And are you concerned about your bond with your grandchildren breaking and being destroyed?
My grandchildren bonded with me. My grandchildren loved me. And I don't have them anymore, and they can't see me.
And you have absolutely no contact
I have
with
no
them.
contact. I don't even know where they are.
No.
I would like to add that this woman, E, put her child in foster care voluntarily because the social worker had told her that it would be good for her daughter, that it would teach her daughter a lesson. So E agreed to putting her in foster care at that point, but was never given her child back or even ever contacted again. Once her daughter was living with the 38-year-old man. The Ministry of Children and Families moved both the daughter and the 38-year-old man to Ontario, and soon after that, the 5 children were moved to Ontario, where CAS apprehended them and put them in foster care, where they still live.